Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Joe Bradford. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, if you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you are an old subscriber, we've been on a short hiatus because of Ramadan, but we're excited to announce a brand new series that will cover the virtues and the historical events that happened in every month of the Islamic calendar. And that will be done in addition to the series that we talk about, book reviews and Ask Joe Bradford and some of the other series. We have a lot of exciting things that'll be coming up in the next 6 months. So please, if you are a subscriber, make sure to hit notifications. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe now and hit notifications so that you can get the latest of the videos that we release. So this new series, we're going to talk about what happened and the special things that happen in each month of the Islamic calendar. And because we just finished Ramadan, we're going to start with the month of Shawwal. Shawwal is the 10th month of the Islamic calendar and immediately follows Ramadan. Today, let's talk about one of the virtuous acts that can be performed in that month, and that is fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. There are 5 points that I want to cover today. Number 1 is the importance of following up good deeds with other good deeds. Number 2, the virtue of fasting these 6 days and it being as if you fasted the entire year. What does that mean? When can you fast these 6 days? And what if you have fasts that are left from Ramadan? Can you fast them? And what if you fall ill or start menses or travel or something? How do we take that into consideration? So when talking about the importance of following up our good deeds, Bishr al-Hafi, who died in the year 227, he was a student of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he was prompted by people striving to worship in Ramadan, and he said, "What bad people are we when we only know God in Ramadan? A righteous man is one who worships and strives the entire year." So fasting these 6 days, or fasting 6 days out of Shawwal, is an act of gratitude for the completion of Ramadan, which is important. It shows us why we should also avoid sin after that blessing. Ibn Rajab rahimahullah, he said, matching the blessing of having fasted Ramadan with committing sins is a display in gratitude in the face of God's blessings. When we fast the fast of Shawwal, we're showing gratitude and we're adding to what we have already done before. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever fasts Ramadan and then follows it up with 6 days from Shawwal, it's as if he's fasted the entire year. This hadith was narrated by Muslim and Abu Dawud and Nasa'i and others from Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. And Imam al-Nawawi, when he was explaining this hadith, he said, this is because one deed is equal to 10. So Ramadan is equal to 10 months and 6 days are then equal to 2 months. So think about it like this. 30 days of Ramadan times 10 equals 300. 6 days of Shawwal times 10 equals 60. So 360 days is 5 days more than the lunar year. So it's as if you fasted the average of 1 year between the lunar and the solar calendars. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, again, he says, the reward for these 6 days is connected to the fast of Ramadan. So the person doing so has the reward of fasting a year of obligatory fasts. Now these 6 days are like your supererogatory, your nawafil prayers, when juxtaposed to your obligatory ones, your furud. Any deficiencies in your fast that are not made up for by zakat al-fitr are rectified by fasting these 6 days of Shawwal. Being able to fast these 6 days after you've completed Ramadan shows an intuitiveness of your soul to take to worship even when it's optional. And this is a sign that your Ramadan fasts were accepted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, so that you can complete the number of days and glorify God for His guidance. This is the 185th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. So a person who's fasting finds the reward of their fast at the end of Ramadan. And so going back to fasting means you're adding good to good deeds. The least you could say is that you're starting with a clean slate and you're adding good deeds to a clean slate. And this is gratitude for the blessings of good deeds and the performance of more good deeds. The Prophet ﷺ, he would stand all night in prayer, and Aisha would ask why he would do that until his feet would swell when God had already forgiven him of anything he could do. He said, أَفَلَا أَكُنَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا, should I not be a grateful servant? She also was asked, radiallahu ta'ala anha, about the Prophet's actions. Was he sporadic or did he schedule his acts? She said, "La kana amaluhu dima." No, the Prophet ﷺ was consistent in the acts that he did. He would not pray more than 11 rak'ah in Ramadan or after Ramadan. And when he would miss his supererogatory, his nawafil, his extra prayers and fasts and things like that, he would make them up. Like he did with i'tikaf in the year when he missed it due to delegations, he made it up in the beginning of Shawwal. So it's important for us to take these things into consideration when continuing the blessings of Ramadan after Ramadan. When can we fast these 6 days? Well, you can fast them at any time of the month in Shawwal. They can be fasted consecutively or separately. The only stipulation that you need to keep in mind is that you should not single out Friday for fasting. So if you're going to fast a Friday, you have to fast the Thursday before it and then the Friday, or fast that Friday, then the Saturday after that, as the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from resembling other faiths that single out their holy days for fast and days that are supposed to be celebrations. What if I have days of Ramadan left that I've missed? Can I fast these days when I still have to make up days from Ramadan? Well, there's a variance of opinion amongst scholars about fasting nawafil before making up your obligatory fasts. So what do you do if you've missed days due to travel, illness, menses, breastfeeding, pregnancy, etc.? Well, the first position is that you must make up your missed days before fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. And they base this on a reading of the hadith that we mentioned earlier. They say whoever fasts Ramadan completely, then follows it up with nafil fasts that are subsequent to Ramadan, then it is as if he has fasted the entire year. The second position reads the hadith this way: whoever fasts during the month of Ramadan, then during the month that follows it, fasts 6 days, then it is as if he has fasted the entire year. So which of these two positions is stronger? Well, those scholars that advocated for a stricter reading of the text of the hadith obviously chose the first position. Those that read more broadly in light of other indications in the Sharia advocated for the second opinion. We can see the phrase, whoever fasts Ramadan, necessitates that we approximate the meaning and assume one approximation to be stronger than the other. So it's not enough just to say the hadith is clear. In fact, the hadith is interpreted. So we either have to read Ramadan to mean an event during the year, or we read it to mean a collection of specific days that make up a whole. Scholars advocating the broader reading drew an analogy between prayer and fasting. And they said, we think that you can fast these 6 days before making up your fast, because let's say you're going to pray Dhuhr, the afternoon prayer. Dhuhr is valid from the time the sun passes its zenith until the time of Asr. This is something which is called wajib muwassa' in the Sharia, or an obligation whose validity spans a period of time. As soon as the time of Dhuhr comes in, it is obligatory for you to pray. However, this does not make any other prayer forbidden or even disliked. In fact, it's encouraged to pray the rawatib, the sunan, the nawafil before praying Dhuhr. So let's say as well that you were praying Dhuhr, you were in a rush, and then you broke your wudu, and then you wanted to go back and you said, you know what? I've got time, let me pray my sunnah, let me take my time, and then pray Dhuhr. That would also be valid. So likewise, if you've fasted during Ramadan and then you had to break that fast for any reason, then wanted to go and make up your missed fast, making up those missed fasts would be wajib muwassa'. You would have from this Ramadan all the way until the next Ramadan to make them up. So just like the example of the afternoon prayer, you can fast the 6 days of Shawwal before fasting your missed days of Ramadan. This position seems more in line with the broader internal logic of the Sharia and allows for a holistic reading of the hadith. There's no doubt that it's preferable to make up your fast as soon as possible, but this, according to the second opinion, would not be a must. So, what if, however, a person is in a situation that is so long that they're not able to make up their missed fasts, nor are they able to fast the 6 days of Shawwal? So what if a person was pregnant, breastfeeding, or ill for a period of time, and that doesn't allow them to fast at any time during Shawwal? What do I do in that situation? Well, if you enter the month of Shawwal and you're unable to fast these 6 days, but you intend to, you will be rewarded for your intention, inshallah. Bukhari narrates from Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا مَرِضَ الْعَبْدُ أَوْ سَافَرَ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ عَمَلُهُ إذا كان مقيما صحيحا أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet said, when a slave is ill or traveling, God writes for him the deeds he used to perform when he was healthy or in residence. In this case, you do not need to make up your fasts. But if you like, you may, just as the Prophet ﷺ would make up the nawafil that he would miss, as we mentioned earlier. So this is a summary of the issues that surround the fast of Shawwal. I'm interested to hear if you have any issues that might not be addressed here in this video. Feel free to leave them in the comments and I can address them in one of the Ask Joe Bradford segments that'll be coming up soon. If you like this series and you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I hope to see you next time when we learn more about the virtues and the events that surround Islamic history. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum.